Hey guys, it's Abby and today I'm reviewing The Other Black Girl by Zakiya Dalila Harris. So I was told by Shay from Shay with the Hobbies that I needed to read this. It was in the comments of one of her videos, we were having a chat, and she mentioned it, that she'd read it recently and that she wanted to know what I thought of it. So when I had a little bit of space on my TBR at the end of the month, I thought that I may as well grab an ebook of this and pick it up, and I'm so glad I did. I adored this book so much. So this is a brand new release and it is a thriller book set in New York City where a young woman is working within the publishing industry. She's the only black woman in the office until one day another black girl is hired by the company and things start to get a little bit strange. I will say first of all that this didn't need to be set within publishing. That was not something that needed to be there for the book. I can understand why. I can understand that it could encourage more readers to pick up a book because, of course, they want to read books about books. This could have been set within any industry, really, so having it within the book industry didn't really add anything other than possibly some discussions about racism in publishing, which are always good to have but weren't needed in the book. But it is there. It is set within a publishing house. Do with that what you will. This was such an interesting book to read because there were so many different diverse points to discuss. You of course start off really siding with our protagonist. Nell is obviously the one that you're going to want to side with because you're seeing from directly her point of view, and you're seeing her with her friends, with her partner, and how things are developing at the company, and you get settled into the rhythm of the story. And then this new black girl comes along. At first, when Hazel joins the office, Nella is really excited. She's so excited to have another black woman on staff, someone else to champion black diversity with her and have another voice alongside her to promote the actual diversity being processed into the books that they're writing, the authors that they're taking on, and all of that. However, things don't quite go to plan. Hazel ends up becoming the office darling, with Nella pushed to the side. She's losing opportunities that she did have, and Hazel is really pushing ahead and steaming ahead. And once Hazel's really settled in, Nella starts getting notes, and one of them tells her to leave the publishing house now. Now that's about as much as I can tell you about the plot. It's a thriller, I don't want to go too much into it, there's a lot that happens. To have a general discussion on the book itself. So, first of all, Nella. Now, my girl. So, like I said, you start off really started off really siding with her and really understanding her point of view. But as the book goes on, again and again, she just does ridiculous things. She chooses the stupidest sides, and the things that she's doing, she's pretending to herself that they are for black power and for equality, and they're actually just for her. Like, she devolves as the book goes on. It's really interesting in that it becomes, she thinks at the start that she's doing so much, championing so much for black power. And as the book goes on, and as you see other people coming in, including Hazel, you see that she's not championing black power, she's championing herself and exactly what she wants. And that's something that she never really kind of comes to terms with, and she really can't deal with. Being like the fact that she actually doesn't care about anyone other than herself, which if she knew would be fine. I mean, not fine, but you know what I mean. And then actually seeing Hazel's character development. So first off, you start liking her, but there was something underneath that I was like, what is going on here? And when I was telling Shay, because I was sending her voice messages over Instagram, it was so much fun, and I was messaging Shay and I was like, there is something off here. I don't know what it is. I don't know why, but I don't trust Hazel. And Shay's just like yes. And when I actually go back and look at it and look at the different plot points and what's happening, I can see reasons why I wouldn't like Hazel. Like, when you actually go into it and discuss it, there are reasons why, but they're written in a manner that you don't detect them, you don't think about them when you first read them. They're just like, okay, that happened, that's just like something, like a little event, you know, plot point, cool. But it puts those seeds in your head that something isn't quite right with Hazel. And the way that that's done, I adored that so much, because yes, if I go back and I sit there with the book open, I'm doing this, I read it on ebook, but if I sit there with the book open and I can point out this sentence, and this sentence is what made me not trust her. Not like her, but not trust everything she's saying. But in the moment, those don't come to light. Until you go back and analyse it, those are just like subconscious in the back of your mind, and I thought that was done so well and is so impressive. I adored it so much. We do also get a few flashback points to back in, I can't remember when it is it 80s? I can't remember, but when a different book is published and it's like the first big black written book by a woman. And we go back in time to see their points of view, and those bits are so interesting. I would have loved to see more of those and more from those points of view, not just from Nella, but also from this author and those around her. I thought that was really interesting. It's hard for me to discuss the race aspects of this book, despite the fact that they're so heavily in there, because I'm white as a sheet. But I do want to mention them. I will say, please go look for black reviewers and black voices on these exact topics to actually get a realistic point of view from them, but I also don't want to not mention them and just hide away from them because I'm white. So, you know, like disclaimer, I guess, in that, like, if you want an actual realistic point of view to go off of, don't use me. But just to bring some points to light with you, I find it really interesting that Nella is dating a white man, and the way that that relationship is handled, and it's actually brought up as in, I know that it's like a topic within certain black communities of like, you're not truly black if you date someone white, and like why she's so whitened. So Nella is quite privileged, and so her accent, hi, I'm used to this, her accent is quite posh. And I say that with probably the least posh accent I've done for a while, but still, her accent is quite posh, and she's dating a white man. She's had a lot of privilege in her life with parents with a decent income who've been able to send her to good schools and provide her with assistance. And like the difference in that, like, if something goes wrong, if she can't pay for her flat, mum and dad can come in and help her out, which is great. But there are other black women who don't have that. I'm pretty sure Hazel doesn't have that. And so that's an interesting look at the fact that she does have privilege. She's pretending that she's championing this blackness that is about someone who's been worn down and oppressed, and she has been, but she also has the privilege of financial situation, which is interesting. I also love how a core plot point in this book is something that is so, at least from culture that I can see, so inherently integrated with black women, and that is their hair care. Yeah, a big part of this is that she works in a publishing house, but Hazel's like little thing on the side that she champions is this hair care product, and it is as if I'm gonna know. It's hair grease that you put in to keep moisture in your hair and to keep your roots moisturised. Not that I need that. Me and Shay had some really interesting discussions actually, completely I guess related to the book, but about hair. So if you don't know, Shay is a black woman, and so her hair care routine is really different to mine, and we discussed the fact that the differences in how frequently you wash and the differences in moisture. So I have very white hair in that it will get greasy quite quickly. I can't go more than 3 days without washing it. But realistically, at the end of the second day, it needs washed because it's too greasy. My scalp is pretty oily, whereas Shay, it's like, if I did that I would dry out to hell, and it's like, it's so interesting to discuss those differences. So yeah, anyway, that's unrelated to the book review, but yes, so I do love the fact that it integrates something so crucial to black women, and black men as well, of the hair care routine, of hair grease, of looking after your hair, and I love that that is integrated within the story. I don't do reviews that often anyway, and a lot of the times when I do reviews it's on fantasy books, so I'm finding this quite difficult to review a thriller because all of the points that I want to mention would be spoilery, even mentioning them vaguely. So like the hair grease. I'm like, yeah, there's hair grease. You don't need to know what's happening with it, but there's hair grease. So this is going to be fun to edit as well, because obviously when I'm editing I'll realise that I've said something that's a spoiler. The end of this book was a very interesting one. Again, I can't mention it. Why did I do this to myself? I think that this book does an excellent job at discussing racism within just the work environment in general, but also how privilege can distort that, and also how it's not the same for everyone, and how different people will interact in different environments. And also, obviously I can't spoil anything for you, but how the book ends is perfect. It's perfect. Okay, spoiler time. So this is only for if you've read the book. I will just say anything that comes into my head. I read this book a couple months ago now, so I will miss out some details, but this is all going to be spoiler filled. Okay? If you're only watching up to here, up until the end of the spoiler free section, then thank you so much for watching. Hit subscribe if you want to see some more from me, and I will see you next time. Now, for my spoiler peeps. I think I've given them enough time to go. Okay, so the hair grease. I was not expecting that whatsoever, to have these properties that are like, they feel magical. Like, I know it isn't. I know that me and Shay had this discussion. I said to her, I was like, why on earth have they went down this kind of like magical route? But she mentioned that they have actually done studies on how the skin can absorb these chemicals, obviously. We knew that, but how they can actually have an impact on the body, and there have been scientific studies on this, and maybe this is taking it a little step further than it would naturally be at the moment that we know, but that's what fiction does. And so I really love the fact that it's this hair grease that's got these intense properties, and it's something that is so integral to blackness, of having this extra like moisture in your hair and doing the hair care routine is so integral in modern blackness. And I love that that was integrated and used to then motivate the story and motivate these people acting in a palatable manner by using something so integral to black hair care. I also loved the fact, I loved that when Hazel is talking to Nella and she's like, I can see that you've been using the cream, like you're coming to our side, and Nella's like, I've not been using it, I don't like it, it doesn't work for my hair. And it's like, wow. One, obviously, like that 100% is going to happen when they're trying to get people to convert, because hair's all different, but also the fact that Nella's then converting by herself. So Hazel had been an unwilling convert. She just was using the hair grease and it converted her. But Nella, technically she's unwilling, but also technically she's willing, because she's converting herself. She wouldn't have converted without the influence, but she is converting herself without using the hair grease. And she chooses, under duress, but she chooses to use the hair grease and to go down that route. And the ending, I was so mad at Nella when she said yes, but it makes a lot of sense. And the fact that you then see her basically being the next Hazel in another office is I loved it. I loved it so much. I also thought it was so interesting that Nella distanced herself from her friends. She stopped actually talking about black commentary in the community of how people are mistreated, and instead she's just caring about work. She just cares about beating Hazel. She just cares about getting that. And it really shows her selfishness coming to light and really presenting itself outwardly when she has this external direct competition, versus when it was essentially her against the white people. Now it's not her against white people because Hazel's shown that it could happen. Nella just can't manage it. That's so interesting. And then I'm aware this is all over the place, let me vent. And then the fact that it's her boss who's doing this entire hair care thing, mixed with that black author who was so prime in her day, and that people are trying to stop it, and it was so good. It was so good. Also, I'm not used to having this much space. I'm filming in my parents' bedroom because I thought it would be fun to do something different. But yeah, this is just such an amazing book. I mean, obviously, if you watch this far, you either don't care about reading it, which, the fuck, pick it up, or you've read it as well. So if you've got this far, let me know down in the comments below what you thought of this book. This was just so good. Such a good thriller. I adored it. I've heard some people saying that they don't think it's a thriller, and I have a feeling this is the same as Alyssa Cole's thing, where like white people were reading it and then saying this isn't a thriller, it's not scary. And like, I'll tell you right now, it's not like scary as in, oh my god, someone's gonna die. Like, that isn't the fear. Someone's not gonna die, someone's not gonna be attacked. It's scary because it's societal influence that is changing a person so dramatically and making them act in a way that it doesn't actually assist the people around them or themselves. It's thrillers for empathetic people. Me and Shay have both said that we're really empathetic. We really immediately can connect and really empathise with someone over an event. And so for both of us, that means that we really connect with like social events and things that are happening. So for example, the murder of George Floyd. I'm white and British, and that hit me like a shit ton of bricks. So I can't even imagine how that hit Shay. She's American, she's black, she's living there, she's living through it, and she's just as empathetic as me? Nah, that's gonna hit her like a metric fucking shit ton of just trucks ploughing through her. And so these sorts of thrillers, I think, are for people like us who look at societal change and don't like what society is doing at the moment, but appreciate that we're trying to do something, but that it's not quite going down the right avenue. And it's not your traditional thriller in that someone's going to die, that someone's going to be attacked. It's not that. But you can still have a thriller without physical violence happening against someone. I think that's the main thing. For a lot of people, they're like, oh, there's no physical violence, it's not a real thriller. It is. Just because you're not scared for your life doesn't mean that you're not scared. Like, I was so, like, into the story of this occurring and this happening. So I have views on people who think that they're not real thrillers. So if you're one of them, I'm assuming you're going to unsubscribe. Thanks for watching. But yes, so I'm going to shut up now because this is going to be hell to edit because I don't even know. But let me know, like I said, down in the comments what you thought of this book, because I really loved it. I can't remember what I put it through for Corpile, which is how I do my ratings, but I can tell you Corpile's really tough on 5 stars, but it's either a 4 or a 5 star. Like 100%. I adored watching this, reading this. And Shay, thank you so much for getting me to read this, because one, I loved messaging you about everything that was happening and having those discussions that we did about race and about the differences in the cultures and about the differences that we both got, like the different interpretations that we got from the book from a black American point of view and a white British point of view. That was so much fun, and I really loved and appreciated all of the discussions that we had. And I can't wait to see what other books you force on me in the future, but please give me a wee moment because I've still got over 100 books on my TBR. And I need to get that down first. And if you want to see more from me in the future, guys, then please do hit like and subscribe down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! Is it even still recording? It is! Yay!